J.D. and Karlie Wickman walked down the old marble hall toward the heavy front doors of the police station in silence. This argument had been going on for over a week. They both were of a right mind and a good heart on what needed to be done. The only problem was that there seemed to be more than one right way of doing it. Their two main disagreements in 21 years of marriage were about things that had good and logical solutions. How to discipline Angela, that had been the first. Karlie was the disciplinarian, while J.D. always let up on the rules. The second, what to spend money on and how much. J.D. tended to see what had to be spent, while Karlie saw what needed to be spent. If the house trim needed to be repainted every 5 years, then Karlie saw it as a necessity. But if the trim lasted 6, J.D. saw it as a savings. Problems of the heart never entered into their disagreements, so they counted themselves lucky and learned to give a little, knowing they would eventually settle on the right solution. They would this time too, but it might take a little longer. That silent walk down the hall suggested they should let the discussion rest for a few hours. But Karlie knew they wouldn't, and the sooner they got it settled, the better. As they walked out the large wooden doors and down the steps toward their car, she fired the first gentle volley. "I don't think you're being realistic." "I don't think you're being reasonable," said J.D. "Do you want to put somebody in prison? Is that your goal here?" "Yeah, maybe. If that's the punishment for stealing, well, maybe that's where they should be." "Oh, come on, J.D. You know these women, these girls. You like them. I like them. You know we can put a stop to this without having to play cops and robbers like some weekend schoolboys." The car beeped as J.D. unlocked the doors, and they slid into their seats. He and the drivers, and she and the passengers. J.D. stared out the windshield and checked his cell phone messages. Karlie straightened the stacks of receipts littering the floorboard, thinking about the conversation they had just had with her old high school friend, now Sergeant Bobby K. Wood of the Hanson Police Department. Bobby didn't solve their problem and didn't offer his opinion on their opposing solutions. His silence on the matter only added to the tension they were feeling from the daily money shortages. Karlie could see it in J.D.'s eyes and hear it in his voice. He was concerned not just by the losses, but also by how they were going to deal with them, with the apparent theft. Of course, she was concerned too, but J.D. always seemed to take business matters more to heart. When they explained how the money was disappearing from their restaurants, Bobby suggested a couple different routes to take, but she could see he didn't like being a referee. J.D. set his phone down and looked over at her. "You know, we really put Bobby on the spot in there today." "Well, he's a policeman. He's used to being on the spot." "Honey, we can solve this thing ourselves. We've got nearly $1,000 missing, and it has to be one of 3 people. J.D., let's not go over it again. You just get more upset every time, and I don't want to see you go through that. We'll do it your way. I know you want to try and catch the person responsible. And you want to just ask them outright if they're stealing and hope someone will fess up." His face reddened again, and his voice got tighter with each word. She put her hand on his arm. "J.D., please, let's go home and tackle this later."